I'm sure that just about everyone watching has played that game with their friends where the floor becomes lava forever long and you have to move around without touching the ground. There's even now actual video games based on this idea. When thinking about this game a few days ago, I had an idea. What if the floor actually turned lava? I know the immediate answer you could think of is yes, of course you would die, you idiot. But I really wanted to make an in-depth analysis of what would truly happen in this scenario. To begin, we must first discover what lava actually is. Lava is a semi-fluid molten rock generally spewed from volcanoes and fissures. It can range from temperatures of 700 to 1200 degrees Celsius. In short, lava is basically just really hot rocks that act similar to how fluids do after being erupted from underground. Now we have to figure out how to create lava, because how can there be lava everywhere if we don't create it in some way? Oxygen and silicon are the main elements that must be present for magma to form. Magma is basically lava that is yet to escape the earth. When first thinking of ways to cover the earth in lava, volcanoes came to mind. Specifically, I thought of supervolcanoes like the one in Yellowstone. On the earth, there are around 20 true supervolcanoes. For a good visual of the effects of these volcanoes, we are going to look at a simulation of what the Yellowstone supervolcano is capable of doing. If the Yellowstone volcano were to erupt, it would send out a 10-foot layer of molten ash over 1,000 miles from the park. Areas further than the 1,000-mile radius could still see many inches of ash covering the ground, spanning as far as New York City to California. There is one small problem with supervolcanoes being the source of the ground becoming lava, though. When the volcano spews out all the hot lava and ash from it, the ash fills the sky and creates what is basically a nuclear winter. This quote-unquote nuclear winter does exactly what the name sounds like. Ironically, the volcano erupting would actually block out the sun and cause temperatures around the globe to decrease. This doesn't help with making the floor lava, as lower temperatures mean it is less likely to be molten very long or at all in certain areas. With supervolcanoes off the list, we can now kind of have to stretch what we call the ground being lava. Technically, a complete lava ground can only be achieved with magma escaping from the earth due to the definition of what lava is. If we stretch the question to what if the ground was molten though, then we would be able to try other methods of covering the earth in lava-like substance. With this new revised question, there is a few new revised potential answers. Maybe if we were able to heat the earth's surface to such a temperature that all the rocks on the surface melted to the ground, we would be able to achieve our goal. The only question is, how can we do that? According to NASA studies, the Earth is increased in temperature by a rate of about 0.15 to 0.2 degrees Celsius per decade. As hard as it may be to believe, there's a chance we could keep growing at that rate. Under the assumption that there's no limit on the growth, we could lowball at a rate of 0.15 degrees a decade increase and discover that it would take the Earth around 45,000 years to be the bare minimum lava-like temperature range of 700 degrees Celsius, or it would take about 79,000 years at the high end of 1,200 degrees Celsius. Due to this answer being a huge stretch, there's one other certain method to obtaining the goal of a molten Earth, where the ground is pretty much lava. This involves the Earth being pretty much eaten by the sun. Like all other stars, our sun has a life cycle. Within this cycle, there's a death of the star, where it must first expand and devour anything in its way before condensing to a much smaller but heavier mass. Our sun is expected to span enough to be right in line with the Earth's orbit anywhere between the next 7.5 billion years or so. In this scenario, the Earth will pretty much be directly next to or inside the sun. It is around this area where the Earth can exceed 5,000 plus degrees Celsius. A temperature like this is more than enough to completely turn the Earth's surface into a molten lava-like wasteland. Now that we have found out how to make the Earth similar to the setting on the floor of a lava game, let's delve into some logistics involving buildings. In order to be safe from touching the surface of lava, you need to be in the presence of some very high melting point metal alloys. Some of these include, but are not limited to, titanium, tungsten, osmium, nickel alloys, iron alloys, and iridium. Materials such as these are fairly unrealistic and most likely won't be present if the floor would miraculously become lava underneath you. Chances are you will be at or near your home or some type of building when it all goes down. The problems with modern housing structures, though, are the fact that they cannot protect people from immense heat, pressure, ash, and poisonous fumes from lava. With the temperatures peaking at ranges of 1200 plus degrees Celsius, even a concrete house would fold and deform to the point of failure. Any surviving building who miraculously didn't melt would probably cave in due to the oncoming storm of ash and molten rock that at this point would be piling up on the roof and just about everywhere it can reach on a building. Average roofs can support about 20 pounds per square foot before becoming stressed. Only a mere 4 inches of volcanic ash is enough to completely cave in a roof and expose it to the outside. Being exposed to the outside, assuming you survive the other events, is the real danger. It is here where the poisonous chemicals are waiting for you to breathe in. The presence of carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, and hydrogen halides, to name a few, are more than enough to injure or even kill you within less than an hour of exposure. Now, with all the destruction and everything out of the way, is there any way to actually protect yourself metaphorically and win this game? In order to do this, you have to have a building made of metal alloy that is resistant to melting from lava. The most realistic metal would probably be some alloy of iron with a low enough oxygen content or good enough heat capacity. To play it safe though, I just go with some titanium. Next, you need a roof with supports and trussing that could reinforce the top of your building enough to support the weight of many tons of ash. This also means regular cleaning and clearing of this ash buildup in order to maintain the integrity. On top of those seemingly impossible requirements, the building must also be airtight and have a system in place to filter air for you. Without air filtration, it is inevitable that you would die due to lack of oxygen. If we want to get into the cost of such a bunker, the first huge price tag is titanium. This metal averages about $30 per pound, and with a density of about 280 pounds per cubic foot, you can see how expensive a house made of this would get. Assuming you beat the odds, gather enough money to supply yourself with an immaculate bunker, and are alive, what would you expect to see on the surface of Earth? Upon becoming lava, all plants, wood buildings, or any material that cannot withstand over 1200 degrees Celsius would go up in flames. The burning of trees alone would accumulate over 247 billion tons of carbon being released into the atmosphere. This is more than 20 times the amount annually released by fossil fuels and land use changes annually. The effect that this increased carbon would have is the introduction of even more heat. Upon melting, the carbon would begin linking its surrounding with oxygen to form carbon dioxide and would continue to burn and combine until there's no more oxygen left. Each CO2 molecule created depletes the earth of about 3 molecules of oxygen. As for creatures who are touching such lava plumes, their fate is much more grim than just a mere ignition. Due to water vapor content, the presence of blood, a body would not just melt from lava, it would explode. As the liquids within your body cook and boil, the particles speed up more and more. This movement leads to expansion throughout all the portions of your body. Without many exits for the pressure to go in your veins and organs, they begin to explode and release pressure from all over. Once the pressure finds an exit, it will want to equalize with the surrounding pressure of outside as quickly as possible. This rapid loss of pressure will cause enough small explosions and pretty much pop you like a balloon. So the short answer to what would happen if the floor was actually lava is pretty much that all life and man-made creations on Earth would cease to exist. Every great creation, invention, idea that man has ever achieved would be wiped away without a trace, never to be thought of or seen again by any preceding life forms. Thinking about this makes me wonder, what if there was some form of life similar to ours before, but it shared the same fate we will soon come to? Imagine what civilization must have been like and how advanced they were. But I shouldn't say any more, that's for another video.